Hello there, welcome back to the Pit Stop Ranch. Last video we got our tailgate, the lower panel under the tailgate, and the front of the bed cap. We got all that ready to get squirted in primer. This video, we're going to go ahead and get the bed sides done. Now there was a fair amount of rust repair on both of them and some stress cracks on both of these panels that need to get addressed, and we'll tackle that and then get it shot with the rust converter to get a thin layer of black oxide on it, so get something for the primer to adhere to. Okay, time to tackle this crusty, rusty area. Now, a little while ago, I made this piece up. I might even have some footage of that to insert. Okay, we replaced this end up here, and the whole piece was so badly rotten that no idea anything up here. It was like from here forward was just gone. So, confirming the locations of all of the holes. According to the opposite side, there should be 2 holes up here, and I've marked them, and now I'm going to go and punch them and drill them. And that's how you make round holes, square holes. And so I flip the panel over and you see this pile of relatively fresh new rust from it sitting outside from when we actually, right after we stripped the paint off, and then it sat and went through a couple of rainstorms. So just going to go over it real quick with the wire wheel and make it all pretty. You know, you got to get the big chunks and flakes off. We still use the rust converter on all this stuff, but it still needs to be flake free. There are a lot of little dents and and damage from it being a 70-year-old truck. Now, one can get lost in trying to straighten out and beat a pickup bed straight. Once again, these things were used and abused with very little care for the, results. And actually, this one's actually one of the better condition pickup beds that I have seen. Like going on the C10 is a lot more beat up. If we were going through to make some high-end national show winner, of course, we would have to probably go through and make it perfect. But the fact of the matter is, to do that, it's going to require a lot of shrinking, and I don't have the tools to do shrinking, so we're not going to bother. A coat of high build primer and a little bit of sanding will hide the worst or the least bad of it. Only the worst is going to remain obvious, but a big fender goes here and will hide everything under this line, and that'll just leave these big areas here and here exposed. On the back of the truck, of course, you got your head, your light bracket and everything else, so there's only going to be this little area in here that might be visible. It's only things up here that you really need to fix if we really wanted to. The reality is, I want to get this thing in paint. Okay, next thing I need to do on this one is just hose it down with some rust converter. I got a can of it loose around here, and I'm gonna go do that outside so that it can be in fresh air and will dry, and I won't have to smell it, and I can work on the next one. We interrupt your regularly scheduled broadcast with this mildly interesting information. If you recall, a couple videos back, we went ahead and got old Jimmy's cabin doors into single color of high solids primer. This stuff here, in fact. We pretty well finished out the gallon, which should have been able to be enough to do the whole truck, except we shot inside, outside, both sides, up, down, 2 coats, 3 coats some places. So being rather wasteful noobs, we shot through a whole gallon of it, more or less, with little bits left. But so we had to go ahead and go pick up another gallon so we can do the same with the bed sides. However, while we were at our preferred paint distributor and seeking more of the stuff we already got, we went ahead and asked about some high build primer. Now, if you recall a few videos back when I was shooting this, I repeatedly made the comment that we were going to get some red oxide colored high build primer. Now, of course, the idea of this was so I wouldn't have to do another coat of anything on top of it. So we're going to shoot all the areas that are highly visible, or going to be the most visible to us and future owners, and then sand it with the high build. And since it was going to be red oxide, and it shouldn't be obvious that there's 2 different kinds of primer overlapping each other. Problem is, they didn't have any red oxide high build primer. All they had was gray or white. So now the plan has to change slightly, is we're going to have to mask off all the stuff that we don't plan on necessarily getting high build primer on. Shoot everything that we need in high build primer, 2 coats real quick. Then do the sanding until the high build primer gets thin, and maybe even the underlying red oxide primer starts to show through. And then go and shoot everything out once again with another coat of the high solid sealing primer. Now, getting it all in one color is really important, because different color primers or different shade of primers underneath your color coat is going to result in different patterns showing up in the color coat of light and dark. Our next video, we should be getting the bed in primer. We're going to go straight to just the high build primer and skip the step of the red oxide. After everything's got the high build on it, I'm going to put a coat of the red oxide sealing primer on everything, and then it'll all be one color, so when we actually do our color code, our actual final paint job, it'll all should look consistent and beautiful, and we'll be champions. Now let's return you to your normally scheduled broadcast. Probably something to do about fixing rust and beating dents out of sheet metal.
The rail that holds the wood down on the side has been popped loose from its welds on this side, so I've punched a few holes in it and have gone through and welded in, plug welded it back to the side where it belongs, and made it nice and strong again, so we can go ahead and not worry about the wood being loose and flopping about, or the bedside not being structurally tied in very well. There are also a couple places where the existing holes are ripped out a little bit, so they needed to be beat back into place, cleaned up, and welded back together. Once again with the wire wheel to remove the flaky rusts and any flaky paint.
Go ahead and go over it with this, you know, standard rust fixer, and any rust that has been missed should be or remains or is deep, we convert it to black oxide and be ready for prime. Oh, and there you go. Both side panels all ready to go. Get high build primer put on them. That's going to happen next for the series. We're going to go ahead and shoot the bed and get everything in high build primer and get the bare metal painted. Anyways, thank you for watching. Really appreciate it. And if you want to support us, please hit the likes button, and if you haven't done so already, please subscribe. And until next time, have a rustastic day.